Hello and welcome to My Safety Hub. I'm Ockert, your host. And for today's podcast, we will not be conducting an interview, but rather we will be discussing the need for health and safety culture in the workplace. Before we begin, however, I'd like to thank all of the supporters who have subscribed so far to the channel. We'd like to celebrate the fact that we've reached 100 subscribers. For those of you that are new to the channel or that are seeing these videos for the first time, please subscribe and leave your comments in the section below. So the significance for fostering a strong health and safety culture in the organization for me is a lot to do with the safety of individuals and the way that they think about health and safety. Therefore, the way that they think about the tasks that they perform daily, and the way that those tasks can possibly impact others as well as themselves. Once we can get individuals to start thinking about health and safety in the correct manner, naturally, the risks involved with regards to the tasks being performed would be mitigated because eventually unsafe acts would start becoming less and less. And in that sense as well, we know that unsafe acts also relate to unsafe conditions, leaving a workplace untidy. And if you've got a way of thinking about keeping yourself safe so that you can get home to your relatives, naturally you're taking other people into account as well. The key elements for a robust health and safety culture, in my view, would include, first of all, inclusivity, making sure that everybody's exposed to not only the values of the company towards health and safety, but also the communication in that regard and the leadership being provided from the top down, providing an example for what that culture is supposed to stand for. A lot of times what we would find in the industry or what we would see with companies or employers is that instructions would be provided or they would be pushed down towards the employees without sufficient explanation as to why something would need to be done a specific way or why people would need to behave in a certain manner. Kind of the old way of doing things, if you think about it. But times have changed. It's 2023. Soon to be 2024, and the days of the, call it militaristic approach towards being safe at work, so do as I tell you or else, have gone. Yes, we've got policies to govern that, and yes, we've got legislation to govern that, and yes, HR and IR have a place and have a role to play in this regard as well. But if you can create buy-in, which is another element, in my view, for a robust health and safety culture in the workplace. If you can create buy-in through systematically coaching individuals, training them, exposing them to information sufficiently towards why it's in their best interest to do what is correct, you're going to foster the culture and you're going to foster buy-in a lot quicker. And immediately in that sense, you start eliminating the resistance that will exist. We've got to remember that in any workplace, culture is prevalent. It's there, whether you're thinking about it or not. Every workplace has a culture. And as soon as you start implementing a health and safety culture in the workplace with the focus on certain objectives that you would like to reach, you're replacing the old culture with a new one, and that's going to cause resistance. So the way that you carry over this information, the way that you start building this culture in the workplace, would either create more resistance or less. But it's all about how you package it. It's all about how you market it. And if you do that correctly, in my view, I believe that you would be able to cross boundaries, to move mountains, and eventually to make sure that people don't get hurt unnecessarily. For me, that's what a robust health and safety culture is all about. So let's consider the role of training and education in terms of the building or establishment of a health and safety culture in the organization. Fact of the matter is you can't go without it. Every single conversation that you have as an individual that's maybe taking charge of the implementation process is an opportunity for you to educate and train and influence somebody else. Formal training, absolutely, can't go without it. Whatever kind of methodology you would like to follow, and there are different kinds of methodologies out there that you can use, I believe all of them have values or have a value in them to add to your business as a whole. If we look at training such as training individuals for being a coach within your business, I'm somebody that's for it. I think it's important to have somebody in the team or individuals in the team that can complement each other in terms of influencing others to get towards changing the way that they think about health and safety, and changing the way that they think about the tasks that they perform daily. It's in one of the interviews that I've had, the conversation led to a point where the person that I was interviewing said that we're taking risks all the time, and that's true. We don't even think about it. And I suppose that's a way to maybe get past the argument of creating a health and safety culture in the workplace and saying, but we do it all the time and we get away with it all the time. And if you take any task that you perform, and any health and safety professional will support what I'm going to say now, if you perform a task for long enough, and if you repeat mistakes and you have near misses for long enough, eventually they all add up, and eventually something will go wrong and somebody's going to get hurt, or stock will be lost, or assets will be damaged. And if we have an opportunity to prevent that, I believe we should take that opportunity. In the same sense, we know that legislation is about to change. And we know that the penalties that the new legislation will be imposing on employers and employees alike are quite stringent, a lot more than what they are now. So why would one want to be opportunistic in the sense of taking a chance because it's not going to happen to me, it's not going to happen to my business, and it's not going to happen to my family, I'll get home safely today, when you can take another route and make a sound investment and build on something that will deliver, and in the same sense get other people to think the same way as well and look good in the process. For me, it's a no-brainer. It's really, there's no argument around it. If you want to be successful in terms of health and safety, you've got to think in terms of how I can protect myself and protect the other people around me so that everybody can go home safely. But I think also the question then comes in, how would you align the culture that you would like to build with the company's values? So for me, it's actually the other way around. It doesn't start with a culture being aligned to the values. It starts with the values being aligned to what you want in terms of culture. If your purpose statement for your business, your vision and mission statement for your business excludes health and safety completely, well, that's your choice. But I believe if we look at what a business stands for and what it markets and what it puts out there for the public to consider, and if that information then contains some element or some sense of we do this for this reason in a safe way, well, that for me adds a lot of value towards who you are and the messages that you're giving out to the public about your products or your services. From there on, whatever you would like to build needs to complement that vision and mission statement. Everything you do in terms of building your health and safety culture then is working towards the vision that you have for your organization and the mission that you're carrying out in the daily operations in a safe manner. And it's a great way to remind every employee, for whatever role and responsibility they may have in the organization, that your purpose in this position is aligned to the mission and the vision of the organization. And we're doing these things for this reason, obviously in a large sense to make money. But if we can make money in a safe way and make sure that people can go home and come to work the next day and be committed to what they're doing and doing it the right way, that for me speaks volumes. So it's not so much about starting with a culture and aligning it to your company mission and vision. I think we miss the plot if we do that. I think to do it the right way, start with your vision and mission statement and make sure that you are inclusive in terms of health and safety in those statements. And then you start filtering it down and pushing it down towards individuals and their roles and responsibilities. Even their work instructions, obviously, that needs to incorporate some health and safety elements as well. If we then consider the challenges that exist for implementing the health and safety culture, things that you'll face in the future, or probably that you're facing already, well, it's quite obvious. People are challenging. Everybody's different. Everybody's unique. Everybody has their own view on everything. You will never get everybody to follow the culture that you would like to build 100% of the time. That's a myth. It just doesn't work that way, because everybody gets out of bed every morning differently, in the sense that they feel differently. They might be upset, they might be going through a tough time at home or in their personal lives, whatever reason there may be, for them to not be as mindful with regards to what they're doing every day in a safe manner. And for that reason, it's important that whoever you assign the role as being the health and safety culture champion, or that implements the system in your organization, that they be vigilant in paying attention to the people that they work with and noting the little differences, the slight little nuances that they probably won't be seeing unless they know how to look for them, which lead to unsafe acts and that lead to accidents as well. Just being mindful of what people's mindset are about every day, I believe goes a long way. What do you do with individuals that don't want to buy in? Well, I think you've got two roads that you can travel on here. First of all, you can continue to be persistent with the individual and try different methodologies or different approaches to influence the person to start thinking differently, and to act differently, which is the safe way. Or the other road needs to be taken. And for that, certain policies and procedures from an HR and IR perspective, unfortunately, need to start. Because if the consequences or neglect with regards to working in a safe way, which is a legislated requirement, is not being followed, it's the only full stop that remains for the individuals that don't want to take part. But that's my view on it, at least. So in summary, do I believe that successful implementation of health and safety legislation or legislative requirements, the implementation of a risk assessment and its control measures, the implementation of a health and safety program or a health and safety management system requires a health and safety culture for it to be successful? The answer is yes, you do, or it does. I don't think that the one can go without the other. And having people that want to do something because they're not only being told to do something, but because they choose to, that makes a big difference. For this video, however, that's it from my side. I want to thank everybody that subscribed to the channel. I want to thank everybody that have left comments on previous videos as well. If you haven't subscribed to our channel as yet, but you would like to see more of the information that we'll be sharing in the future, please hit the subscribe button below, and also leave a comment or a question if you'd like to engage with us further.